We had 874 people register for the conference. The whole thing was really geared towards book sales. We did get to #1 on Amazon's hot list for introduction to investing, and we were #5 for business and finance.
Mike, thanks so much for jumping on and taking the time. Good to have you here.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. I'm really excited to dig into your win today. But before we do, let's just give everyone a sense of who you are. So tell us a little background and who you help in your business and how you do that.
Sure. So my name is Mike Lamothe. I founded Mara Wealth. The purpose of Mara Wealth is that we aim to help people that are trying to get involved in the stock market. We aim to provide a blueprint for how they can do so, from understanding the different types of mindsets needed and how to develop the various skills that are needed for trading success and trading mastery. And we help them out by providing courses, by providing coaching and mentoring,
Mm,
one-on-one group sessions, and also a variety of other tools and research to help them too.
gotcha. So you got a couple different programs and offers that people can come in on.
Yep.
Gotcha. What are some of those just specifically? So you said you have a course, group coaching, and one-on-one, and are those the three core tiers?
Right, exactly. So there's a couple of different people that come to us. There's people that are attempting to save time. They're busy. They kind of know what they're doing already, but life throws
Mm,
you a curveball. I kind of think back to when my daughter was first born, and I was having trading success before that, and I kind of thought that I would just do the same stuff, not realizing how intense fatherhood would be, and I just needed some help, some way to offload some of the work, uh,
mm,
and if I had some research that I was able to not only understand but to really see what went into the sauce. So much of the other research that's out there, people provided a lot of it is great, but it's very seldom that you get to see what exactly goes into the sauce, so to speak. Well,
mm.
a lot of it tends to be proprietary, and part of what I aim to do that's different is share exactly what I do, why I do it, how I do it, and just get that part of the research in your hand so that way you could go off and use it however you want. For people that want a bit more help, that want to understand, well, what are some of these other skills that we need? Because it's a lot more than just research. It's understanding how to manage trades, understanding how to manage risk, portfolio risk, how to continuously improve. We developed courses for all those things, and for the people that really want to go all in, not taking their life savings and going all into the market, but
Yeah.
really trading their all and making this something into an endeavor that they'll have for the rest of their lives and develop
Mm,
the skill for the rest of their lives. We have the VIP level where we're working with people one-on-one in group settings and doing we're actually doing our quarterly reviews right now.
okay.
So we send out surveys. They fill them out where we see where they're doing well, where there's room for improvement, and then we hop on a call, either myself or one of our other coaches, and we guide them on what their next path is going to be to continuously improve.
That's awesome. That's a really cool feature that you have as a part of that program then. So you do a quarterly look back and then kind of set the tone or the strategy for the next 90 days, and that's maybe the cycle that you work with your clients in.
Yep,
That's fantastic.
exactly.
Yeah, it's really
Yeah,
cool.
thank you.
What's the what's the ideal client for your VIP, and what's the price point on it?
So the the ideal client for the VIP is going to be somebody that wants to succeed, like has the comes in with the right mindset of, okay, I understand that this is almost like a career
Mm,
or something that will require a good amount of effort for a prolonged period of time. versus how my initial mindset when I got into trading was you put money in, you wait X amount of time, and more money somehow magically pops out the other end. It takes
Mm,
a bit more effort than that. It's kind of like if you were a doctor or you wanted to become a lawyer, you wouldn't just go on YouTube, watch a couple of videos, maybe you read a book or two, and then jump into the courtroom or go into the OR.
right.
A lot of people tend to have that mindset when it comes to trading, and so many of us learn the hard way that it doesn't quite work that way. And
Mm,
especially in 2020, right? There was, of course, the big COVID decline, but the big rally that came afterwards made it. It was a type of environment where it's very easy to pick a stock, see it go up, and say, "Wow, I'm a genius," and that started to train people that thinking, well, this is very easy.
mm,
So there's a large group of people that are just now figuring out, hey, this isn't quite as easy as I thought. And so we want to try to help the people that are that want to stick with it and make it into something.
sure. It's almost more of a mindset difference than like a demographic difference or something like that. Just
Yeah,
the approach that people take.
totally, totally.
That's interesting. I was reading part of your story too, about your experience post '01 and the internet bubble crashing. So
Yeah,
you've
yeah,
been
that
through
was a
some
good one.
crazy swings since you've been trading.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's one way to describe it.
Yeah. What how has your mindset evolved over the past couple decades to where like I'm sure the way you approached the like COVID dip was very different than maybe the internet bubble.
Oh, sure. Night and day. So, well, with COVID, it was almost, I don't want to say expected might be the wrong term, but almost foresaw. And it
Mm,
wasn't because, oh, well, there's COVID. And of course, like the market's going to take a, I think it declined 40% at its worst or somewhere in that ballpark. But there were various factors that I look at that start to tip me off of, okay, the market is starting to decline here. Let me get out of my long positions. If I start to see opportunities to go the other way and start to short, where you borrow shares and you hope that they go down so that way you could buy them back later on at a lower price and you make money on the difference. In my process, I'm able to see when those opportunities develop. And so this time around, I was prepared and started to see those kinds of things just develop. And I'm not predicting, but it's just seeing how the table is set and taking action based on it.
hmm.
And it's a skill that I believe that pretty much anybody can learn. It's not it's yes, there's certain things that I do tactically, but from a skill development perspective, these things tend to be universal, and that's a large part of why I wrote the book,
Hmm.
the Trading Mind Wheel, and also the way that the people that endorse the book too from all walks of life have also said that yes, this is in fact correct in many of their stories that are in here and uh,
Yeah,
client testimonials as well.
that's fascinating. So it sounds like maybe confidence in your skill set and just like um, having more of a veteran eye for like kind of the market forces to pay attention to and what's just noise and that seems
There's
to be
that part of it, and also I think one of the core skills that we talked about it during the conference, and I know we're going to get to the conference in a little bit, but also is a big uh, there's a chapter and a half about it in the book, and we also mindset it is throughout, but specifically about risk.
mm,
When we are looking to invest, well, we want to use what's called a stop loss. A stop loss, as it might means, stops our losses. So we want to try to keep our losses as small as possible. We want to have our wins be as large as they're able to be, and we need to manage the trade between those 2 points.
Hmm.
What keeping our losses as small as possible does is, like, if we were to imagine a distribution of all of our wins, all of our losses, we want our losses to be as close to zero as possible, because every win that we have needs to do less heavy lifting than if we have more losses to the left of the distribution curve, right?
Definitely.
So if we're able to keep our losses small, then our wins do are able to carry us so much further. Great. So if we manage our risk in such a way where we know where and how to cut our loss, if we're going to be better off. That was something that I learned many years in. It shouldn't have taken me that many years to learn it, but that was a key difference between uh, 21 and 2020, from what you had mentioned earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes sense. Cool. All right. So you did mention the conference. So I'm really curious to dig into this. Obviously, right now, I bet a lot of people are feeling less confident in their trading strategy just with kind of the news narrative that's come in and the way that things look. So um, I heard your conference. I know it was a big win. Just tell me a little bit about what it was, and then let's jump to the end point of what the result was, and then I will maybe back up and go through how you set it up and your strategy approaching it.
Sure. So the conference was to celebrate the release of the new book, the Trading Mind Wheel, and well, the premise for the conference was that there's these 8 skills that are needed for trading mastery, and
Mm,
through the years, I've gotten to know a lot of people in the industry, from all different trader types, people that have different types of experiences, the people that are trading different time frames, people that have different specialties and subspecialties, people that are great analysis, people that are great risk managers, people that know a lot about journaling
mm,
and post analysis, and other people that are great at testing, right? Like back testing, forward testing, uh, factor modeling. These are all concepts that we talk about in the book. So I brought all these people together, or many of them together, inside this conference, and we set up panel discussions for each of the 8 core skills that are needed for trading mastery. And well, in this niche, we've all heard from these people talk on their specific topic, but it was extremely rare to see a panel of them all discussing a particular topic and being able to bounce ideas off of one another.
mm.
So I thought that that was very unique. So that was what we aimed to do for the conference, and the end result, uh, day of, we had over 1,000 people watch it live, and so
Nice.
far, a week and a half. Yeah, it's been about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks later. Another 5,000 have watched the recordings.
So 6,000 total viewers.
Yep.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah,
Congratulations. That's
we're pretty
fantastic.
happy about it. We're pretty
Yeah.
happy about it, and yeah, the numbers keep growing.
How many leads and how much revenue did this conference end up actually resulting in?
Well, for leads, the we had 874 people register for the conference. So we had this tool called StreamYard. They let people register for like a webinar setup, but they also let you simultaneously live stream. So we
Mm,
set it up where we would have the webinar, but we also were live streaming to YouTube as a backup. I've seen other people do these virtual conferences, and I've seen one type of streaming crap out, and so they would just have something else going as a backup. So that's where the idea of, okay, let's have uh, the webinar version and YouTube going simultaneously, and well, that's how we ended up to getting to the number of 1,000. We didn't promote YouTube at the time. Well, we just promoted the webinar, and so it's just like, wow, okay, we've got like maybe another 200 plus people watching on YouTube, and the live webinar throughout the day. And for a full day thing, an 8 hour thing, Was surprised to see so many people stay, not only logging in but also staying there for the bulk of the show.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, the retention's always a good sign
Yeah.
for sure. Awesome. So 874 new leads, 6,000 total viewers on the conference, and then what
Yep.
was the bottom line impact on revenue for the business?
It's hard to say because the whole thing was really geared towards book sales. I'm
Okay.
not in charge of the. I'm not tracking the book sales. It's the publisher that's tracking the book sales. But we did get to number one on Amazon's hot list for introduction to investing, and we were number five for business and finance for best selling on that day and for a couple of days. So I'm assuming book sales were pretty good, but I don't have the exact numbers yet.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. You got to number one in a one category, and number five in business and finance overall for a few days.
Yeah,
That's huge.
yeah. I'm very pleased with the result.
Yeah. Do you have any idea if there's a kind of a halo effect of getting to the top of those lists where you get more like organic purchases just because you're ranking so high?
I think that's part of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's part of it. And book sell the book sales are also Barnes and Noble and Walmart and Target and those kinds of places. So like it could be selling in some of those areas. Um, Yeah, it's really interesting how this part of the business works. A lot of it is still very new to me.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. And did you get any clients, direct clients out of the conference too? Or is it all book sales?
It's like 99% book sales. Well, we've gotten a couple of new clients so far. The next thing that we're going to do, there's a 5-day launch sequence that Growth University has, and that's the next thing that we're working on. So we'll probably uh, get some more clients from that.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's great. Trust should be pretty high with, you know, especially the people who specifically opted in the 874. And then if retention was good, that's probably a huge trust building.
Your
Uh,
the retention is high. People that were on that email list have already been emailed uh, multiple times. Well, it's they received. Let's see. Well, what they received emails after the conference. Well, what we did was because there were so many people that joined in live, it was impossible for us to answer all of the questions live. We
mm,
tried to answer as many as we could, but obviously can't get to all of them. So what I've
right.
been doing is I've been picking out the top questions. A lot of things were recurring,
Yeah.
and started to answer those questions both in email format and in video format, and sending that out to the people that registered as well as other people on the list. And the open rates on the emails have stayed at about 50%.
Wow. That's a great
Yeah,
sign.
that's a decent open rate, right?
That's a great open rate. Yeah. You definitely have an engaged audience there. So
Yeah. So
that's fantastic. Okay. So you've had this, the conference was what it seems to be a smashing success. And it sounds like more revenue will come from it, especially when you run a dedicated campaign to this group. Um,
yeah, absolutely.
but I know it didn't start off looking like it was going to be, you know, the big event that it was. So tell me what the promotion was like and what changed and along the way.
Yeah. So I was very scared at one point. About 2 weeks out, we had 15 people registered for this event where we were going to have 10 speakers. And the thing that was scaring me the most was that like I didn't want to let the speakers down. Like
Mm,
these are people that I look up to, that I admire, that I've become friends with over the years. I wanted them to be able to speak to hundreds and thousands of people. So it's just like, well, we've got to switch things up. So the original premise for the conference was that uh, if you if you pre-order the book, then that would be your ticket into the conference. And the conference
Mm,
has all these great speakers. It's a full day thing. Like the if you wanted to attend an event like this, it would be $500 or $1,000. But we're
yeah.
giving it to you for free just for pre-ordering the book. So there was some kind of disconnect somewhere. We because we saw people pre-ordering, but they not everybody that pre-ordered necessarily came back and submitted their receipt and got on the email list, and so there
Okay.
were a couple of potential holes in this, and so it was about 2 weeks out that we decided to make this pivot to just say, okay, let's just make a registration page, make it free for everybody. This thing is way too valuable, um, because not just for the content itself, but how often do you get a group like this in a room spitballing with one another? So let's just open up the doors and make a registration page. And when we did that, that's when everybody was just registering for this thing. It was very popular.
That's awesome. Okay. So the book process was, it sounds like there were just a couple too many steps for enough people to come back and go through it. So they had to buy it and then submit their receipt and then they would get their ticket in return.
Right, exactly. So maybe it was that, maybe it was something else, but whatever it wasn't working. So that's why we just made
Gotcha.
that dramatic pivot.
Yeah, it makes sense. So okay, so you switched the registration to free and open to everyone. How are you driving traffic to that?
We were driving traffic through social media, through my email list, and through all the speakers.
Okay.
So many of the speakers had large audiences. Our biggest the speaker with the largest audience, Mark Minervini, he uh, wrote the foreword on the Trading Mind Wheel book, and he has about 500,000 on Twitter.
Oh yeah.
So a lot of his audience came and registered for it, and then we had a number of other people that were on the conference that also have very large audiences. So when they started to promote, saying, "Hey, I'm speaking at this event, come join. It's going to be fantastic," a lot of people registered.
Okay. Perfect. So everyone, when you got partners or panelists for your conference, part of the deal maybe was that everyone would help promote and get the maximum number of people there.
Right, exactly.
Okay, perfect. That makes sense. All right, so people are registering. I really just want to fully understand how you organize the event and what the messaging was like. So people opt in. Are you doing any kind of pre-event messaging or getting people warmed up before they attend the conference?
Yeah. So we did some pre warm up to keep people engaged. What we Some of the emails that we sent out were asking the audience for questions that they had on some of the different panels for some of the specific speakers. Send that stuff in so that way we could make sure that those questions get answered ahead of time, and we would start to engage with the audience before the event even started.
Mm-hmm.
That helped warm people up. Aside from that, that was the yeah. Well, we did maybe three three or four emails like that leading up to uh, the conference, and those emails started about 10 days out, and then a couple of them before the show started.
Okay, perfect. Um, okay, so people are coming in, some pre warm up, and then for the actual day of the conference, it feels like it's a real art holding uh, attention long through, especially virtual live events.
Mm.
So, just how did you structure the day with the panelists? It sounds like retention was high. So, just what do
Hmm.
you think the key was to that?
That's a very good question. Preparation is the first thing that comes to mind. Thanks to Growth University, thanks to specifically Mike Berry, who's the coach that I'm working closest with, and who has loads of experience doing this himself. He's written a few bestsellers himself, plus has also made several book conferences. Gave a lot of tips on how
Mm.
to structure the flow and to break things up. That all helped. We had a virtual lobby where people were able to go and find out about some of the other speakers, some of the other things that we were giving away throughout the conference.
Mm,
So keeping people engaged throughout. Uh, we we had breaks.
okay.
We had maybe about a 5 minute break to transition between panels. We had a lunch break that I think was half an hour. That's kind of how we broke up the day.
Sure. So was it like the 8 chronological sessions just in a row throughout the day, and then there's breaks in between, and it sounds like there's maybe a separate link to go back to a lobby where people can ask questions, or
Oh no, so we just kept the stream going all day long. And so
gotcha.
we kept the stream open, and then when it was time for a break, we would throw up a slide that said 5 minute break, or the next
Okay.
session is going to start at such and such time. Here's a topic.
Gotcha.
Had some music playing in the background so people didn't think it was just dead air.
Okay. Cool. That makes more sense. And so all on the same link. I think you'd have to do it that way, right, to keep people in one
Yeah,
place and
yeah.
engaged.
If we had ended and then restarted, and that, yeah, that would have been very chaotic.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Here's maybe an important question because I can imagine people watching this thinking it's really cool that you got like 8 panelists and partners to come in and pitch in on this, especially people with large audiences. What
Mhm.
was the key to getting them to agree to this? It sounds like you've got some relationships, but what was your pitch to them to get them to participate?
So many of these people I had relationships with for a while. So I've been in this space for, let's say, 15 years. And so leveraging those relationships that I had. But part of the pitch too was that, hey, I've got this book that's coming out. I'm thinking of doing this conference. We're hoping to get a lot of people to come to this conference, and so it's getting their message in front of all these different people, and that it's focusing more on the the vision, the
Mm.
vision, the mission, the purpose, which is really helping people learn how to invest, learn how to trade, learn how to do it well. And all the people that were invited to the conference, myself, well, we all share the same common vision. Um, and that's a lot of what drives us to do what we do. This is one of those industries where there's a lot of nonsense in the space as well, and so through the years, we've kind of found each other that have a similar mindset, that want to give people things that will help be real, tell them, let people know that this is not something that's easy. There is no overnight success. There is no magic bullet to any of this, but if you follow X, Y, and Z process over enough time and get the right kind of help, you can make it happen.
That's awesome. I think that's probably a really refreshing message uh, in your space too, because there's lots of extremely hypey
Oh
promises and
yeah.
offers out there. That's awesome. Okay, so the mission was maybe the primary unifying thing. Did you share the leads with the other panelists? Like, did you share all the opt-ins with everyone too, or was that not a part of the deal?
Yep. So they got that as well.
Okay, cool. That makes sense. Do you think that would have been enough if you didn't already have the relationships with these folks?
Hmm. It would have made it more challenging, I think. Would have made
Gotcha.
it a bit more challenging, but I don't think that it would be a barrier that could not be overcome. One of the things with large conferences like this, especially when you have other panels, when you start to get one, I other people could start to see, well, who else is involved, and because if they start to see other people with large audiences or names that they recognize involved, then, oh, I want to be a part of that, right? It's kind
Mm,
of like when you see like who's going to the party, right? To like kind of bring it back to right to high school, like, oh, who's going, like, they're going, okay, I'll be there,
yeah. So
right?
the key maybe is getting one even kind of verbal yes, and then building the team out just from the excitement of that person. Could
Right,
be.
right.
Yeah. Okay. Um, Interesting. So I a couple other questions I have just on the book sale front. How are you? Because you got all the way to number one and number five in significant categories. How are you promoting book sales throughout the conference?
So different panelists organically started talking about it. I didn't prompt
Really?
any of them to talk about it. Everybody knew that the the conference was for the book and to celebrate the book launch, and that uh, it actually launched that day. So the day that the book became available to start shipping is the day that we did the conference. We did that purposefully, and everybody knew that going
Mm,
in. Many of the speakers also read of all of them read the book, and many of them wrote endorsements for the book. So when it came time for them to speak during the conference, they weren't prompted. They just started saying that, yeah, like Mike said in here, and I read this thing, and it's fantastic. I
that's
think that I think that the organic nature of allowing them to do it made it really hit home with a lot of people. I think that you could kind of tell when something's canned versus when something isn't,
yeah.
and uh, maybe it's the not polished part of it. Maybe it's that little bit of grit that makes people like, yeah, like that. This is how this person actually feels. Let me go check this book out and see what this guy has to say.
Makes sense. It strikes me too that having the book launch uh, baked into the whole concept of the conference gives it kind of like this natural excuse to be something exciting. Like people are
Mm.
coming in with the right context for that. So I think that was really smart on your part too.
Oh, thank you.
Um, so what's you've done this conference? It went really well. I know you've been coaching for a while. What's your next big focus? Like, what are you tackling next?
Oh my goodness. I the I'm not exactly sure, to be quite honest. I'm working through the different playbooks that Growth University has. The next one is the 5 day launch, so I'm doing that. The book is still only 2 weeks old, so I'm still actively promoting the book. I'm going live on Instagram and YouTube and basically wherever you could live stream every single day.
Hmm.
I'm still answering questions that came out of the conference. I'm actively talking about the book on all these programs. I've been invited on a couple of podcasts organically without me reaching out to people. People are now inviting me to be on their shows,
That's
and
awesome.
so the book gives a lot of great talking points. So I'm doing that. Um, just glancing at my calendar over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been so long since I haven't had book mode and conference mode and all these other things that it's just kind
Oh,
of like
sure.
getting back into like, okay, now what? But that's that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I'm sure you took a big deep breath after you wrap up an event like that because there's a lot of logistics. I mean, it sounds like you have maybe almost a new era of kind of like authority building on your side, where you now have this book, which is a fantastic expert tool that you can use for marketing or as a front door as a giveaway.
Mhm.
And if people are starting to now organically reach out to you, what do you think that's going to do for you in the next 6 to 12 months? That you're now requested, not just requesting to be on podcasts.
I think that it helps spread the message.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that it helps spread the message. Uh, One to go back to the question that you asked previously, because this idea just popped into my head
sure.
about how a next step that the book helps with. I think that it helps to enhance the program. right?
Hmm.
So we spoke a little bit about the coaching and mentoring program that we have, but I think that the book helps provide even greater structure to that program. It's almost like if you were to imagine a college course or a university where you have the textbook,
Hmm.
you have different courses that you need to go throughout to get to a mastery level. So, and in front of all that, you have a coach or a teacher, a professor, and you have study groups. And that's basically what Mara is aiming to give people at different levels, particularly at that premium and VIP level.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. I think you'll probably get a lot of people buying the book naturally who buy your courses too.
Mhm.
Definitely. Okay, awesome. So thanks so much for your time, Mike. Before we go, where should people find out about you if they want to improve their confidence in their trading?
Sure, sure. So the main website for Mara is marawealth.com, Mara, just like it has on the wall back there. On my screen, it looks backwards, but maybe on the regular
It's
video,
straight.
it shows
Yeah,
up.
I can read it.
But marawealth.com. That's where they could find out more about me, about the book, and about everything else. And we also have the book has its own website. If people want to go to tradingmindwheel.com, then they could learn all about the book, and they can get links to all the different spots that it's available: Amazon, Walmart, Barnes and Noble, Target, all those places.
Okay, perfect. I'll make sure that those links are included, below wherever this video appears, so everyone can go get their hands on that stuff. Um, Thanks so much
All
for your
right.
time, Mike. I think it was really interesting digging into this with you, and I'm excited for what's going to come as a result too of having those people on your list.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I appreciate everything that you guys at Growth Tools and Growth University do for us. It's really been a game changer, and it's been an amazing experience so far.
Awesome. Happy to do it, man.